why every man needs to have a dog. And especially if you have a family. I really believe that a family is not complete without a family dog. And I believe Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, even said this. I think that's where I first heard it, was from him. He actually lived in my neighborhood. He might still live in there, in Sherman Oaks, Studio City, by Los Angeles. He would walk his dogs often in the morning, and Gizmo would often bark at him and his dogs, which I thought was funny. And his wife, at the time, would always laugh and pet Gizmo, and I thought that was really cool. But he would never take a selfie with me. I asked him like 4 times. I finally gave up. I'm like, dude, can we just get a selfie? No, not today, next time. I'm like, dude, you said that last time. Anyway, not to get off track with the dog whisperer. I still watch his videos, so I enjoy his dog training. Every man needs to have a dog. I really believe that when you have a dog, you will just by default place less emphasis on impressing women, right? If you have a problem with that already, right? Which I would say most men we're just born with that, right? We're just born with feeling like, we need to, love, impress, and cater to women and dedicate our lives to them, right? I mean, there's just something about that. And really, to be honest with you, it wasn't until I had a dog growing up in my childhood, but I didn't really become a real animal person until probably not even till the 2000s, when I had my Doberman. And it was probably the last few years of her life that I really started to appreciate her. And I realized, even though I had her since the mid 90s, I really regret the times that I left her at home to go, help my girlfriend at the time, who ended up cheating on me, who was just, terrible, just not the best person, to put it nicely. That was a girl from 2000, not the 2006. But I regret the times that I prioritized my girlfriend over my Doberman, who was there for me through thick and thin, stood by my side. Anytime I was having issues with that chick, my dog was always there, and I didn't really value that enough. It wasn't until, like I said, the last few years of her life that I started to value her. Like, you're always here. You love me no matter what. You're loyal no matter what. You're not sitting here, playing these mind games and, trying to sabotage me. That's a great part about dogs, is they're not capable of that type of toxic human behavior, right? They're not capable of resentment. They're not capable of, holding grudges. I mean, they forgive and forget like that, right? And, it's often said, me personally, I don't understand people who don't like animals, especially people who don't like dogs. There's always something off about these people. That's something I've noticed. There's like a dark trait about them, right? I mean, you can not have a dog or not care for dogs, but you don't have to go the extra mile and just hate dogs, right? Which many of these people who don't like dogs, I've had enough experiences with folks like that where there's just something just kind of missing in their lives. There's almost like a hole, and it's usually filled with a negative emotion, like anger, right? Or just darkness, at least from what I've seen. That's why they often say you shouldn't trust somebody who doesn't like dogs, especially women, women who don't like dogs. That to me is a big red flag. If you meet a woman and she doesn't like animals, right? And I've never met a woman, and I've met, believe me, as a lifelong pickup artist, I've met thousands of women throughout my life. The ones that I can recall that did not care for my dog, or did not care for animals, period, were just not the best of people, right? I never met a single one who was like, okay, she doesn't like dogs, but she's cool. she's a good person. No, there's always something very kind of self-absorbed about them, you know? So anyway, but yeah, every guy should have a dog, man. But I don't want you to go out there and get a dog if you're not in a place to have a dog yet, because it's not for everybody, right? There's a lot of responsibility when it comes to owning an animal that I wasn't prepared for, you know, because when I got my Doberman in the 90s, she kind of fell in my lap. My brother had her for a little while, and then she, you know, he couldn't take care of her, and then she became my dog. And I didn't realize, like, I have to take this dog walking, and she was a big 75-pound Doberman. She liked to run. I have to take her running. I have to do sprints with her. I mean, she was fast, you know. And I remember I got in really good shape having her, you know, because I was forced to do a lot of like running, right? Aside from lifting and everything, I'd, you know, take her out and run. I was getting like this extra cardio each day. And I would go out there, throw the ball. She would go get the ball. I mean, it's just, yeah, a lot of fun, but a lot of responsibility, obviously, right? You have to make sure you feed the dog, take the dog out twice a day. You have to be financially prepared to own a dog, because it's not cheap, especially when you need to visit a vet, right? Probably the most expensive things I've dealt with are dental. I mean, dental easily. I mean, the last time I did dental was on Cash. Cash had to have some teeth pulled. I can't remember what that was, but it wasn't even that bad at the time. I think it was like close to $2,000 from what I remember. And that was only for a few teeth. I mean, if he had to pull like multiple teeth, then yeah, that would have been upwards where, you know, near like, you know, 3,000, 4,000 or more, depending on where you go. So yeah, these vet bills can rack up. I mean, I would do a senior vet exam on my pets each year for both Cash and Gizmo. That's $250 each, plus you do blood work to make sure, you know, their blood work is fine. I mean, I want to keep them in the best health possible, but I mean, there's a lot of financial responsibility there. So it's not for everybody, right? It's not for everybody. I mean, we had a dog growing up in my house, and she was my childhood dog, and I remember she got this tumor that started to grow near her belly, and we just didn't have the money to get her surgery on time, you know, and we just didn't have the money for that. And I still look back on that, like, you know, and I mean, not even that long ago, I was asked my mom, like, why didn't we have the tumor removed? She goes, oh, I think we got an estimate from the vet. It was thousands of dollars even back then, or it was over $1,000 even back then. And we didn't have that kind of money, you know, and I'm like, then why did we have a dog? You know, I mean, yeah, but people just got dogs back then. It didn't, you know, and people still do. People still adopt dogs, and they're not in a place to do it. Also, you know, if you live in a tiny like studio apartment, it's not good to get a big dog. You know, it's just, you have to be realistic, and you also have to think about the dog's needs, right? If you're gonna adopt. Also, one thing I'll never do is go to a breeder. I know a lot of people, I have family members go to breeders. My old brother got his dogs from breeders, you know, and it's just not something that I would do, because there's so many animals in these shelters that are in kill shelters, which means they're on basically death row. They're going to be euthanized. So if I'm gonna rescue an animal, I'm gonna rescue one from a shelter, you know. So yeah, because people always ask, like, oh, why didn't you get yourself a more threatening dog? Get yourself a, you know, friggin', you know, giant dog or whatever. And I'm like, you know, as they say, God doesn't give you the dog you want, God gives you the dog you need, right? And every dog I've had was basically a rescue that I rescued. I helped save from, you know, either a family member couldn't take care of it, or, you know, something along those lines. The other dog that I, you know, gave to a female friend of mine, found on the side of the LA freeway, Pasadena freeway. She was hit by a car, picked her up, paid her medical bill. It was like $11,000. I ran a GoFundMe for her on my channel. I think I was able to recoup like $1,000, but I paid the rest, and also bought her dog food for a year. No, 2 years, bought her dog food and everything else. So my friend would have the means to take care of her, you know. So, but in any case, I'm getting off track. Regardless, guys, I do believe every man needs a dog, especially if you have a family, but even if you don't have a family, and you have a dog, it will teach you responsibility. It will teach you to think beyond just yourself, right? Because the closer you bond with this animal, the more you'll care for this animal, and the less you'll get caught up in all of these retarded nuances of life that bother most people, especially people who don't have dogs, right? You'll kind of just be able to see, or at least appreciate, the more important things in life. I think that's a better way to put it. You'll be able to appreciate the more important things in life, right? And you won't get so caught up in just, again, the daily, stupidity of life, or, somebody's like toxic actions towards you, whatever. It just really balances life, right? I mean, it really, really helps you prioritize what's important in life. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it wasn't until I started to, because I had my Doberman, I got her around like 90s, like in the mid 90s. It wasn't until like probably close to the mid 2000s, when she had like another 2 or 3 years left to live, that I knew it was coming to the end. And it was starting to bother me, because I was like, I don't want to lose this animal. She's great. I love her. She's been through all this nonsense with me. That I started to reprioritize, and I had a girlfriend at the time. I was seeing a girl at the time, and I noticed I was no longer prioritizing that chick's needs. I mean, if anything, I was either prioritizing my dog's needs or my needs. I was like, nah, I need to do this. Why are you more important, right? And then obviously you start to think back in your head, like, how many of these girls were this loyal, were this, gave me unconditional love? None of them, right? None of them. There's always conditions to their love, right? And there's always conditions to their loyalty, even, right? And I don't fault them for that. I mean, as it is with most people, men included, right? But when it comes to your dog, I mean, your dog will never leave your side. And as much as these like dog haters say things like, oh, the dog only wants food. No, because there are people who've abused their dogs and purposely not fed their dogs, and their dogs still lick their face. Their dogs still try to love them, to give them unconditional love, to be there for them, even though they're with an abusive asshole, right? That doesn't feed them. The dog will still try to do its job, which is to love you and to be your best friend and to be your emotional support and all this. It will still do it. I mean, that's just super courageous right there, because most people won't. The second you stop giving a person something, most people will be like, okay, screw you, right? Kids included, right? Because people always make the comparison with dogs and kids, and I mean, I've seen a lot of people who've had kids and gave the kids everything, right? Even in my own family, these parents who've given the kids everything and more, sacrificed for the children, worked 2 jobs, gave up on their own dreams to give their kids a better life. And those kids, instead of being grateful and going, Mom, Dad, oh my God, I love you so much for everything you did for me, you sacrificed, and because of you, I have a better life, thank you so much. I can never repay you ever. Instead of doing that and being thankful, no, these kids turn on them, trash their parents, throw them under the bus. I mean, I've seen so many of these kids, especially during election time, they'll out their parents on social media and just dox them and be like, oh, they're Trump supporters, or, whatever else. I mean, they'll just totally annihilate their parents. Like, hey, did your parents ever abuse you? No. Were they pedophiles? No. Why are you doing this to them? I don't know. F them. It's like they gave you everything and you're saying F them. I mean, yeah, that's something that your dog will never say to you. I mean, you could be the worst owner in the world and your dog will still lick your face and try to love you. I mean, that is the very definition of unconditional love. I mean, they're just pure love, man. They're just pure love. And, I really believe that, yeah, every man needs a dog, right? There's a reason they call dogs man's best friend. There's a reason for that, man. You know, and when you're out there, you know, creating memories and, you know, sharing your life with your animal, it's not like it's not like you suddenly stop dating women. You're going to continue dating. You're going to continue to have attraction towards the opposite sex, especially when you see a nice hottie out there. However, the difference is you will not be like your former self, where, you know, you pedestalize these women, you put them on this, you know, you made them so superior in your head and made yourself so inferior. No, instead, they're just going to be women to you. You're just going to be like, oh yeah, cool, there's a hot girl, sure, I want to talk to her, sure, I want to date her, you know. But I'm not like all Mr. like Gaga over her anymore, right? Because it's almost like your dog just chills you out, right? Chills you the F out. Your dog's able to just like get you to a good place mentally, where your priorities come into check, because you, instead of searching for unconditional love and loyalty out there in the world with friends, family members, girlfriends or wives, which so many men drive themselves batty trying to find in humans, once you find that in your animal and realize like, man, I've got that. Okay, so I've got that, right? I feel complete. You'll feel at least complete, right? And you'll realize that, you know, humans are just not capable of that, right? I mean, I'm sure there are some out there, I mean, but it's pretty hard to find, right? It's pretty hard to find somebody who's like that, who's that loyal, who will love you unconditionally. Even your parents put conditions on loving you, right? I mean, you know, you might think your mom or whatever might love you unconditionally, but if you start screwing up, you become a drug addict or alcoholic, yeah, she'll try to help you, might feel sorry for you, but I mean, there'll be some conditions, right, on that love. I mean, anybody, it's part of our human nature, right? You can only, you know, screw somebody over or mess up so many times, you know, or just not be the version of the person they want you to be, or not be the person who they think you are or who they expect you to be, or whatever else, you know, or you become too much of this success or whatever that pisses people off, and then they start to plot against you. I mean, that's just human behavior. I mean, but that is something that your dog will never ever do to you, right? That is something that none of my animals have ever done to me. They've never, like, I mean, there have been times where it's been too late to feed them. I get home late from a boot camp and, you know, I just go to sleep, and the next day they're like licking my face. They're like, oh, I know we're going to, you know, get steak today. And of course I do, right? I mean, yeah, I try to give them the life that they deserve, because they're not here for long. That's another thing about animals is, especially your dogs, they're not here for long. You'll be lucky if you get a decade with them. I mean, consider yourself fortunate if you get a good 10 years with them. Consider yourself very fortunate if you get, you know, 15 years with them or more. You know, like I had with Cash. I had almost 18 years with Cash. You know, he passed away less than a month ago, and it is eating me alive, man. It is like literally eating me alive each day. It's so difficult, man. I can't even tell you. It's so difficult. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I so appreciate all of the warm condolences and messages and all that you've left for him, because he meant, you know, and continues to mean so much to me and you guys and the followers and the channel. And it's been extremely difficult for Gizmo to not have his big brother after 13 years. Suddenly he's like waking up and it's just me and him, and he's looking for him, and it's just really, really heartbreaking right now. It's a very difficult time. But while this was happening, I just wanted to, you know, share with you guys that, you know, as somebody who had a childhood dog, and then after she passed away in my teenage years, I did not want another dog. I mean, yeah, I just was like, I remember when my Doberman fell in my lap. I mean, I was not prepared to have an animal. I did not want an animal. I'm like, man, this dog's hair is gonna get all over my friggin' blankets and furniture and my car, and I don't want to be walking a dog. I don't even like walking myself. I just don't want this responsibility. I don't even know what dog food to buy. I mean, there were so many things, like I was like, no. But slowly, she just started to win me over. And then, and it took several years of her life, regrettably, for me to really value her, because she was more or less just, okay, yeah, that's my dog, and my priority was still my girlfriend at the time. Like, oh, she's a person, she's human, she's my priority. Big mistake, because I was trying to, like most guys, I was going nuts, expecting my woman to give me love, to give me unconditional love, to give me unconditional, like, to give me just freaking basic loyalty, for Pete's sake. And she wasn't capable of that, and I'm not just faulting her, because many women are not capable of that, right? Many people are not capable of that. I get it, right? But who's capable of that is your dog. I mean, they're just built that way, right? They're just built that way, and it's a special type of bond, a special type of friendship that really earns them the title man's best friend. They really are, man. They're just the best, just, again, nothing but pure, unconditional loyalty, love. They're never going to try to harm you, sabotage you, gossip about you, spread rumors about you when you do something they don't like. They're never going to hold anything against you. They don't care if you get up in the morning and you look your worst. They don't care if you gain 10 pounds. They don't care if you suddenly develop some alcoholic problem, or you need to go to like a drug rehab, or whatever issues you're dealing with in life. They don't care. They just want to love you. They just want to be your friend. I mean, that is amazing, man. There's a reason why dog spelled backwards spells God. You ever think about that? So, yeah. And some of you might have cats. I get that. And, I've never had a cat personally, but I know a lot of guys who've had cats, and cats are special in their own way. I can't really speak on that because I've not had a cat, but either way, I mean, they're animals just as well. And I believe every man needs one. It will really, really bring you full circle, right? But get one when you're ready. Don't just get one because I'm telling you to, right? Just get one when you're ready, when you have, space, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if you live at your parents'. If your parents have a backyard and the dog has room to run around back there, and you have time to walk the dog and everything else. And believe me, as somebody who hated taking walks, don't ask me why, I'm just not much of somebody who likes to go for walks. I'd rather, go cross country running or something. But even then, you could take your dog doing that. I used to do that with my Doberman. With my smaller dogs, Cash and Gizmo, it was harder. But I learned to enjoy walking with them, just going for walks, going to the park and just walking. I learned to enjoy it. I'm like, hey, this is cool. And then I look forward to walking now. Somebody who hated, like, never thought I'd want to, I'm like, what? What's the point in that, right? I mean, but now I'm like, actually, it's kind of cool. I like to just get some vitamin D in the morning, take them for a walk. And then again, in the evening, I like to take another walk before I grab dinner or hit the sack. So it works out, and you will work it out yourself. But like I said, get one when you're ready, especially when you're financially ready, man, because it's going to be like, in many ways having a kid where you're going to be financially responsible for this dog. And I want you to have the ability to care for this dog if they need medical attention. And that is one thing I've been so blessed with, especially with my business and everything, or even with my corporate job. When I had my Doberman and she had medical issues, I had the money to take her to a good vet. I had the money to take her to a good facility for care, especially in her last days, which was really, really tough for me. And that's probably the only real big negative to having an animal, is you don't have that much time with them. And you get 10 years, maybe more if you're lucky, like I did with Cash, of pure bliss and happiness and memories, unforgettable memories, and just all the adventures you share together, followed by a dark time when it's their time to go and they're no longer here. It is difficult, man. It is difficult. And I mean, fortunately, I still have Gizmo over here, right? he's still here. Where you at, Giz? I'm trying to get you this. Yeah, Gizmo's still here. But it's, you know, makes it a little easier because we have each other, but you will go through that tough time, man. Just like I did with my Doberman, you will feel a lot of guilt, a lot of regret, a lot of wishing you spent more time with them. I don't really have that too much regret with Cash, aside from what I could have done differently with his medical concerns the last year, that maybe I could have extended his life more if I did this or that. You know, you're always going to replay those things in your mind, right? Because you care. However, you know, you'll get this very short period of time with this animal, usually around 10 years or more, and depending on how well you take care of them, and that will be followed by extreme pain for a while before you go and rescue another animal, right? And just don't go to breeders, man. Don't go to breeders, man, or pet stores, or even rescues where you know that they're not going to kill the animal, right? I mean, I don't go to any rescues that really take these dogs out of shelters, and I just, because I know those animals are safe, they're not going to euthanize them. But the ones that are in these shelters, especially in poor communities or communities that are struggling financially, those are the ones, the shelters I go to, like Riverside, for example. It's not too far outside LA. Downey, which isn't too far away from Compton. Palmdale, those are typically the shelters where I will go look for dogs that are on the list to be euthanized, and try to save them, or foster them for a little bit and get them to a different rescue where they won't be killed, which is what I'm focusing on right now, that I don't have cash and I'm not ready for another animal. Me and Giz are going to try to save a few. So yeah, that's all I have to say for tonight's coaching video. Drop your comments below, guys. Let me know if you are planning on getting a dog, if you have a dog now, if you've owned dogs in the past, what has been your experiences, and if you've lost dogs, how do you feel about that? If you're in the position I'm in now, where, you know, I'm going through the rough patch, man, and going through a tough time, having lost Cash after 18 years. I mean, it's rough, man. I mean, you know, think about it, like 18 years together is just, yeah. So drop your comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. So until next time, this is Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets, signing out here at the Las Vegas Strip. Don't forget to smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell for me as well. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, AlphaMaleSecrets, make sure you click that subscribe button now so you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on my AlphaMaleSecrets channel. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, platinum pill content that I'm teaching you even further, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets channel. And right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium AlphaMaleSecrets content from me. So take advantage of it. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. And this is the absolute best way to support my work. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. I'm out, guys. Ugh, look at that.